On Fanalysis, we take the analytics used in fantasy football and incorporate those into the latest betting trends to find out where the smart money is landing. So let's bring in the lead betting analyst from Pickswise, Jared Smith. Jared, let's start things off with the Giants. 3-point home dog to the Raiders. Now, the Raiders look more cohesive after John Gruden was fired, and after the Giants didn't look as bad maybe as what their record shows, because 3 of their 4 losses are against above 500 teams. So how are you grading this one out?
This is tough. So my initial instinct says to take the points at home with the Giants. It's impossible to ignore what happened with the Raiders this week. They've had a really rough season off the field. And the Henry Ruggs situation, as devastating and as terrible as that is, it's not going to affect the point spread. But they're human beings, and it's impossible to say that that's not going to affect the vibe and the mood in Las Vegas's locker room. I will say this. The message from their leader, Derek Carr, has been amazingly positive and uplifting. And I would run through a wall for him. I can't imagine what his teammates feel like. So I think if there is a positive with the Raiders this week, it's Derek Carr lifting them up, because he has been an inspirational point for them this year. But it's impossible to say that that situation won't at least impact the mood of this game. On the other side, for the Giants, I thought they played not great, frankly, on Monday night, but they hung around and they showed that they have a little grit to them. And I do think they take after the personality of their head coach, who's a little rough around the edges sometimes. But I would definitely say that there is a lot of positives to take from going into Arrowhead and having a chance to win on the last drive of the game, even if I think the overall quality of the Giants was relatively poor on Monday. So I would lean to taking the points at home, but the impact and the outcome of this game is all going to be revolving around how the Raiders emotionally come out after what happened this week.
Well, how the Giants trying to cut through the Raiders defense is going to look a lot different than trying to cut through the Chiefs defense. And there is one nugget to kind of push back on your assessment here. Derek Carr, over his last 2 games, has thrown for 664 yards and 80% completion percentage over the last 2 games. And the Giants this year are allowing the 5th best completion percentage on defense at 68%. I guess that's 5th worst if you look at it from the Giants' perspective. That could be a little bit of a scary part here, because it just feels like you're going to be seeing Derek Carr putting the ball up a lot in this game.
And I do think this game's all about Derek Carr, and it's about the emotions and about how the Raiders handle flying across the country and dealing with all the questions and all that. And to me, it is Derek Carr. He's had a good year, and the numbers have been good. There's been a little volatility at times, but they responded really well after the Gruden situation. I would not be surprised to see them rally here. That's why this is just a lean for me. But I also would expect this line to probably close 2.5. Based on the fact that everyone is on Vegas, and I haven't seen it move off of 3. So I'm guessing that there's some sharp money keeping it at +3 for New York.
Yeah, the sharps are barking, man. It is tough to lay off of a home dog, especially with the Giants. All right, your other teaser. You're leaning in on buying a couple of teams, buying the Rams down from 7.5 to 1.5 against Tennessee, and then moving Pittsburgh down from 6 to a pick'em against the Bears. What do the numbers tell you about this games?
So usually, and we talk about this a lot on the show, and I would stress this continuously, the lower total games are the better spots to tease. That is not the case with this Rams-Titans game. This is actually the highest total of the week. I am willing to make a slight exception because of the amazing value you're getting moving through 7 and 3 with LA, and because of all of the negative narrative around Tennessee without Derrick Henry, and of course on the other side, the positive narrative with the Rams and Von Miller. He's going to play this week, which is fascinating. I don't know. I'm not a defensive expert. I don't know if there's a lot of schemes.
Go get the guy with the football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm assuming that's what Sean McVay will say. There's the guy with the ball. Go tackle him. So for a defensive player, I think it's a little easier to get acclimated quicker. So I think he could have an impact. And on the other side, we discussed this before we came on. To me, Ryan Tannehill is kind of the focal point now without Derrick Henry, and it's the spotlight has been a little bright for him this year. We haven't seen the Ryan Tannehill that we saw those first 2 years in Tennessee, that was completing it at almost 70% and kind of silencing all the critics from when he was in Miami. Now we're kind of seeing the opposite, and maybe it's Arthur Smith going to Atlanta. The offensive coordinator continuity is a little different. It's been a slower start for Ryan. He's going to have to play his best game of the season if they want to cover this number. But I think the Rams just winning is a great spot to move it through 7-3. Then with the Steelers, so this line opened at 5, and I didn't like it to move to tease through 0 because that's a rule I will not break. I'll occasionally tease a low total game. I will not tease a game through 0. I've made that mistake before. I won't make it again. So once this line got to 6.5, then it became a teaser spot because it's a very low total game. This is the lowest total game of the week. And the Bears are really bad. Net yards per play, they're really struggling. And I think overall, Chicago, as good as Justin Fields flashes against the Niners, I think as a team, the Bears are really bad. And Pittsburgh all of a sudden is back from the dead. They're 1-3. Now, boom, they're right in the playoff hunt. I think they win this game on Monday night.
You put Big Ben in the spotlight, and, you know, all of a sudden, the best of Big Ben tends to find its way out there on the field. That's his teaser of the week. Make sure you see his top plays as well. For Jared Smith and Pickswise, I'm Steve Overmyer. This is Fanalysis.